Fallout after a nitrogen leak at a Gainesville poultry plant killed 6 people. That tragic accident highlighting a larger issue for the local immigrant community. Activists and lawmakers are demanding action, asking for a federal investigation into plants across the country. 11 Alive's Brittany Klein-Peter reports.
I stand here because Jose de Jesus Elias Cabrera, Corey Allen Murphy, Nelly Perez Rafael, Suarez Bernal, Victor Reyes, Edgar Vera Garcia, these 6 individuals did not have to die.
A tight-knit Gainesville community is still reeling. County officials say a nitrogen leak at a poultry plant killed 6 people and injured 11 others, including some in the community's heavily immigrant workforce. Activists and lawmakers now saying the incident highlights a greater issue happening across the country.
Meat processing and poultry is one of the most hazardous jobs in the country.
5 of the 6 victims at the Foundation Food Group were from the Latino community. Activists claim many of the 130 evacuees from the Gainesville plant ducked out of medical checks over fears of deportation.
We cannot be a country who gives a message that an individual's immigration status is more important than their status as a human being.
Advocates are asking for a federal investigation into procedures at plants nationwide. They're also asking for the government, specifically OSHA, to ramp up protections for industry workers. Additionally, they want all funeral expenses to be covered for the families of the Gainesville victims. Meanwhile, authorities have not yet released the official cause of the leak at the Gainesville plant. Currently, OSHA and the U.S. Chemical Safety and Hazard Board are investigating the incident. Foundation's food group has not released any further statements.